In the realm of modern relationship dynamics, there is a phrase that has been repeated so often it has lost its original weight. It has been packaged as a trick, a clever maneuver, or a psychological ploy. That phrase is no contact. If you spend even 5 minutes searching for advice after a breakup, you will see it framed as a weapon to be used against an ex-partner to trigger their fear of loss. But today, we are stripping away the veneer of dating games and tactical manipulation. We are here to talk about the cold, hard reality of what silence actually is. We are going to discuss silence surgery. This is not a strategy to win someone back. It is a radical, necessary operation on your own brain for the sole purpose of survival. Most men approach the period of silence with a hidden agenda. They believe that by disappearing, they are performing a magic trick that will eventually force the other person to realize their value. This is the first and most fatal mistake. When your silence is a performance, you are not healing. You are just a spectator in your own life, waiting for the audience to applaud. This script is designed to take you through the 20-minute transformation from a man who is playing a game to a man who is performing a life-saving operation on his own soul. The goal of this silence is not to change her mind. It is to restructure your neural pathways and ensure your own self-preservation. Let us begin by looking at the biological catastrophe that is a breakup. Your brain, for months or years, has been conditioned to receive a specific chemical reward from your partner. Every touch, every text, and every shared memory released dopamine and oxytocin into your system. You were, in a very literal sense, addicted. When the relationship ends, your brain does not see a social transition. It sees a lethal shortage of a vital substance. You are an addict in a state of high-intensity withdrawal. This is why you feel physical pain in your chest. This is why you cannot eat or sleep. Your brain is screaming for a hit of your ex-partner. This is where the concept of silence surgery becomes vital. In a medical emergency, if a limb is gangrenous, the surgeon does not try to negotiate with the infection. They do not wait to see if the infection misses the rest of the body. They cut. They remove the source of the decay to save the organism. Your current obsession with your ex-partner is that infection. Every time you check her social media, every time you ask a mutual friend how she is doing, and every time you draft a text message that you never send, you are reinfecting yourself. You are ripping the stitches out of a wound that is trying to close. The reason most men fail in this process is that they are doing it for her instead of for themselves. They think, if I stay silent for 30 days, she will come back. This mindset is a trap. If your motive is her reaction, then she still owns your silence. She is still the master of your emotional state. If she doesn't reach out on day 31, your entire world collapses because your tactic failed. But silence surgery is not a tactic. It is a commitment to your own existence. When you perform this surgery for yourself, the outcome no longer depends on her. It depends on your ability to stay on the operating table until the work is done. We must understand the science of neural restructuring. Your brain is plastic. It can change, but it requires a sterile environment to do so. Think of your brain as a landscape of roads. Your thoughts of her are massive, well-paved highways. Every time you think of her, you drive down that highway, making it stronger and wider. Silence is the act of barricading those roads. When you stop providing the fuel of attention, those neural pathways begin to undergo a process called synaptic pruning. They begin to wither. They begin to disappear. But this only happens if the silence is absolute. If you peek at her Instagram for just 5 seconds. You have just sent a maintenance crew to repair that highway. You have reset the clock on your own recovery. The goal of this operation is to move from a state of external validation to internal autonomy. Right now, you are a patient. You are wounded, reactive, and weak. By committing to silence surgery, you are transitioning into the role of the surgeon. The surgeon is cold. The surgeon is precise. The surgeon does not care about the feelings of the infection. He cares only about the health of the patient. You must treat your own recovery with this level of clinical detachment. You are not ignoring her. You are preserving yourself. Let us break down the stages of this surgery. The first stage is the shock phase. This is the first 14 days. This is where your brain will try to bargain with you. It will tell you that you need closure. It will tell you that you left something at her house that you absolutely must retrieve. It will tell you that it would be rude not to wish her a happy birthday. These are all lies generated by an addicted brain. In silence surgery, we recognize that closure is not something you receive from someone else. Closure is a gift you give to yourself by moving on. The surgeon does not listen to the patient's delirious pleas for the drug. The surgeon stays focused on the monitors. The second stage is the purge. This usually happens between day 15 and day 45. This is the period of deep depression and void. The initial adrenaline of the breakup has worn off, and the silence feels heavy. This is where the "for her" men always break. They feel that if she hasn't reached out by now, she never will, so they give up. But the "for self" man understands that this void is exactly where the healing happens. This is where the brain is finally forced to start building new roads. Because the highway to her is closed, the brain must find a way to get dopamine elsewhere. This is when you start to find focus in your work. This is when the weights in the gym start to feel lighter. This is when you realize that you can survive a day without a thought of her. The third stage is the restructuring. By day 60 and beyond, the neural pathways are being physically rebuilt. You are no longer the man she left. You have spent weeks focusing on your own biology, your own career, and your own mental health. Your value is no longer tied to her opinion of you. You have successfully performed the surgery. The infection has been removed, and the wound has turned into a scar. A scar is stronger than the skin that was there before. What happens if she reaches out during this process? If you were just using a tactic, you would be ecstatic. You would reply instantly, showing your hand and revealing that you were just waiting for her all along. You would return to the same toxic dynamic that broke you. But if you have undergone silent surgery, your reaction is different. You look at the text and you feel nothing. Or perhaps you feel a mild curiosity, but you do not feel a need. You realize that the person who sent that text is speaking to a version of you that no longer exists. You have saved yourself. You have achieved self-preservation. This is the ultimate power of the surgery. It is the realization that your silence was never about punishing her. It was about worshiping yourself. It was about deciding that your peace of mind is more important than her attention. Most men are afraid of silence because they think it makes them look weak or like they have lost. In reality, silence is the ultimate expression of strength. It is the statement that I am enough for myself, and I do not need your validation to be whole. Consider the metaphor of a forest fire. A breakup is a fire that has leveled your entire forest. You can stand in the ashes and cry, hoping the fire will come back and somehow turn into rain. Or you can embrace the silence. In the silence of the burnt forest, the soil becomes incredibly fertile. New growth can happen that was impossible when the old trees were blocking the sun. But this new growth needs time. It needs a period where it is not trampled by the feet of the person who started the fire. Silence is the fence you build around your new forest. You must stop viewing no contact as a game of who blinks first. It is not a standoff. It is a medical necessity. If you were told you had a tumor, you wouldn't ask the tumor if it wanted to stay. You wouldn't try to make the tumor miss you so it would stop growing. You would cut it out. Your obsession, your need for her approval, and your habit of checking her life, these are the tumor. Silence is the scalpel. Why do men fail? They fail because they have no mission other than her. If your only goal in life is to be her boyfriend, then silence will always feel like a prison. But if your mission is to be the best version of yourself, to be a man of impact, strength, and wisdom, then silence is your laboratory. It is the place where you do the work that no one sees, so that you can become the man that everyone notices. The failure of the for her approach is that it assumes she is the prize. The silent surgery approach recognizes that you are the prize, and you have simply been neglecting your own value. As we conclude this session, I want you to look at your phone. That device is not a portal to your happiness. It is a tool. If you are using it to track her life, you are using that tool to cut yourself. Stop. Put the scalpel down. The surgery begins the moment you decide that you are worth the effort of recovery. It begins when you stop asking, "Why did she leave?" and start asking, "How can I rebuild?" The silence is not empty. It is full of the sounds of your own growth. It is full of the sound of new neural pathways being formed. It is the sound of a man coming back to life. Do not fear the silence. Embrace it as the only path to true autonomy. You are not doing no contact. You are undergoing a radical transformation. You are performing silence surgery. And when you walk out of that operating room, you will be a man that the world and her will no longer recognize. Not because you played a game, but because you finally chose to save yourself. Stay in the silence. Do the work. The surgery is a success only if you don't leave the table until the heart starts beating on its own again. You have the strength to do this. Not for her, not for the hope of a text, but for the man you see in the mirror. He is the only one who has been there since the beginning, and he is the only one who will be there at the end. Protect him. Preserve him. Silence is your greatest ally in that fight. Imagine your life 6 months from now. If you stay on this path of silence surgery, you will be physically stronger, mentally sharper, and emotionally bulletproof. You will look back at this moment of pain, not with sadness, but with gratitude. You will see it as the moment the old, dependent version of you died, so that the new, powerful version could be born. This is the gift of silence. It is the gift of a second chance at being the man you were always meant to be. The operation is difficult. It is painful. It requires a discipline that most men simply do not possess. But you are not most men. You are here because you know that the old way isn't working. You are here because you are ready to take the scalpel into your own hands. Do not look back. Do not check the status of the infection you have removed. Keep your eyes on the horizon. The silence is your sanctuary. It is your recovery room. And soon, it will be your victory lap. This is the end of the tactical era. This is the beginning of the surgical era. No more games. No more waiting. Only self-preservation. Only restructuring. And only the relentless pursuit of your own excellence. The surgery is underway. Stay quiet. Stay strong. Heal. Think of your mind as a kingdom that has been under siege. For too long, you have allowed an outside force to dictate the peace within your walls. You have opened the gates, hoping for a truce, only to be betrayed. Silence is the act of closing those gates and reinforcing the stone. It is not an act of war, it is an act of sovereignty. You are declaring that no one enters your mind unless they bring peace. And while the gates are closed, you are repairing the structures that were broken. You are training your guards. You are stockpiling your own resources. By the time the gates open again, the kingdom will be so powerful that it will no longer care who is standing outside. This is the essence of self-preservation. It is the understanding that your internal world is your only true territory. If you lose that, you lose everything. Silence. Surgery is the methodology of reclaiming that territory. It is the hard work of pulling up the weeds of memory and planting the seeds of ambition. It is a quiet, lonely process, but it is the only process that produces a king instead of a beggar. So, when you feel the urge to reach out, when the withdrawal hits its peak, remember the operating table. Remember that you are in the middle of a delicate procedure. One wrong move, one moment of weakness, and you risk everything you have worked for. Take a deep breath. Feel the silence. Let it be the medicine that heals the parts of you that you didn't even know were broken. You are not losing her. You are finding yourself. And that is the greatest victory any man can ever achieve. The silence is your power. The surgery is your path. The result is your freedom. Stay the course. Do not break. The new you is waiting on the other side of this quiet, and he is more formidable than you can currently imagine. This is not just a breakup, it is a breakthrough. Welcome to your new life. Welcome to the silence.